Hello guys, how are you doing? It's been a while since Little Company was released, so I'm not going to make a video just listing the game's monsters and talking about their characters. After all, you've probably already seen 50 videos like this on your homepage. I want to talk about the atmosphere of this game and how for the first time in many years I saw a cooperative horror game be fun. The biggest problem with horror games that let you play with your friends is that when you are with your friends you generally don't feel alone because you are with them. And horror is the kind of game you need to be most immersed in to make it work. I mean, you can play Yakuza without caring about the story and still have fun with the fights and minigames. Go watch my video about minigames. Or play a sports game that doesn't even have a story. Play Far Cry and just walk and shoot and still think this game is good and think that the money you paid for the game was worth it. This is all because fun is something very relative. What is fun for you may not be fun for me. But horror games are made to cause fear and not just fun. And this feeling needs other factors like a hostile environment, intimidating monsters, and a good soundtrack. And all of this is in vain when you have that noisy friend of yours shouting in your ear every second of gameplay or just saying how bad his work is. And don't judge the poor guy, this friend's life must be difficult. In other words, multiplayer horror games are generally not scary because you spend the entire gameplay focused on your friends and talking to them and being distracted by them. And Little Company solved this problem in a very simple way, pushing your friends away from you. In this game, if you and your friend are too far away from each other, you won't hear each other. This prevents you from making small talk, because you will need to separate and exchange information about the places you have been to. Every time I played Little Company with my friends, everyone was laughing and talking inside the ship. But when entering a factory, everyone immediately goes into serious mode. And nothing is more intimidating than playing in complete silence, hearing only your heavy footsteps on the metal floor, when suddenly this piece is interrupted by the voice of your friend screaming and running from some monster. Remember when I said about immersion being much more important in horror games? In Little Company, the sounds are responsible for much of this immersion, not just because of the realism of not hearing your friends' voices if they are too far from you, but also due to the lack of sound. The game takes place in underground installations in isolated moons in the universe, so nothing better than complete silence to make you feel immersed. No music, no loud sound, just you, alone. Autophobia is the fear of being alone. In recent years, the internet seems to have fallen in love with images that cause autophobia. These images play with many elements: nostalgia, childhood, memories, and the most important, the loneliness. Even a colorful and happy place becomes scary when dark, silent, and empty. And Little Company knows how to use this element very well, making the only human being in the room move away from you and replacing the scary background music with ambient sounds that are caused only by you. And if the only sounds in this place are caused by beings that are part of it, you know what a sound that wasn't made by you indicates. Music is very good at causing feelings, and I can think of several of them that can cause me fear. But I really like how the sound in this game is a fundamental part of the fear. As I said before, the dark is also an important part of this game. If you are without your flashlight, you will truly be in the middle of complete darkness. The game doesn't feel sorry for you, and that's where the second magic of this game comes in: the unknown. The concept of unknown may fit well with what I said earlier about the game's sounds, but here I will shed a brief light on the monsters in the game. At first glance, you don't know how they will act. Most monsters in horror games just attack you. Even if they are scary and have creepy designs, they just attack. But here, you really feel haunted, and you know who I'm talking about. Brackens are my favorite monsters in this game, and maybe because they are unfair as hell. They just come up behind you and break your neck, without emitting any sound or giving any sign of its presence. The only way to avoid being attacked by one is to always look behind you so it doesn't attack you, but eventually you will forget to do this and then... Another monster with a really cool peculiarity are the jesters, that at first don't attack you, they just follow you. And waiting for this song to end for the first time is always a unique feeling. And yes, for the first time. These are words that can describe this game very well. Even the horror games that won me over failed in the same way. After a few hours of gameplay, I already knew almost everything I could expect. Playing Outlast at the time of its release was incredible. I love this game to this day, but honestly, after 2 or 3 hours of gameplay, I already knew that I could avoid all the enemies in the game just by running away from them. Silent Hill is another franchise that I love, and despite having a perfect atmosphere, I can also quickly get used to the game's enemies. And don't be mad at me, I really love these games and don't think there's anything wrong with them, but I will always believe that the best part of a horror game is when you are surprised by an enemy that behaves in a completely new way. And if you want me to prove my point to you, just answer me. What is the scariest part of Resident Evil 4? Resident Evil 4 marked the definitive shift from horror to action in the Resident Evil franchise. Not a moment in these games is scary until you encounter a monster that regenerates and can only be killed using an infrared scope. In addition to the entire appearance and movement of these monsters being very different from all the other monsters in the game. For me, the ability to surprise using different mechanics and different monsters is very important in horror games, and Little Company knows how to do this very well, with the sounds and the different monsters that are never the same as each other. You can be attacked even when you think you are safe. All the monsters here will have a unique way of attacking you, making encountering 2 monsters at once in this game almost a death sentence. It's like in this footage, a friend of mine had been cornered by a coil head. This monster doesn't attack you when you are looking at it, so she couldn't turn around and see that behind her there was a bracken that would attack her if she didn't turn around immediately, and a hygro there, which is this blue goo that causes damage to whoever touches it. And it's pretty obvious that she died. A coil head will always be faster than you. A bracken becomes aggressive if you look at it for too long, and a goo like that is very slow but can't be touched. And that's the magic of Little Company. You need to act differently in different situations. And all this randomness and diversity of monsters is what captivates me about this game. Maybe I will make some of you mad at me right now, but the horror games I mentioned earlier are very good, and I just feel comfortable with the monsters in those franchises, so they no longer make me feel tense or with fear. It's just a small observation about those games. They still amazing games, but mascot horror, okay. I'm a guy who respects different tastes, but I just really don't like this trend of making horror games that involves going into some abandoned place, a cartoonish monster, exaggerated jump scares, theory videos on YouTube, and I'm not putting images in this part of the video just to make you realize that there are several games like this. And that's why I like this game so much. Each monster is unique and the sounds in the game are not just screams, but a whole atmosphere that creates an ideal environment for a horror game. And that's why I have a lot of hope in this game. Doing something different is difficult, and doing something different and good is even more difficult. I play this game every week since it was released, and honestly, I still haven't gotten tired of it. Being in these bunkers still scares me. Sometimes meeting a monster still leaves me not knowing how to react, and I really have a lot of hope in that this game will become something even better in the future. I think this game is heading in good direction, and if the game maintains its personality and future updates continue to bring these elements, I will be very happy. As you can see, I'm a huge fan of this game, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please also leave your opinion in the comments about this game and about horror games that I mentioned. I really hope you had fun, and I see you next time.